What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show with me, Sean Sheehan, here on Sherdog.com. And today I'm looking ahead to the PFL 2025 World Tournament 9, and the finals they already got underway a couple of weeks ago, but we are diving into the second finals card of the year, and the lightweights, the flyweights, and the bantamweights, the women's flyweights even, and the bantamweights are on deck here, I suppose, in three very different, very intriguing fights where I'll be honest, especially in the main event, we could have a massive shock on our heads if it was to go the way I suppose the bookies are not expected it to go. Now we will have a betting show later on in the week, so please tune into that as well. But for now, let's take a look at some of the fights, and this especially concentrating on the top three, and we'll have a little look at the undercard as well. But I'm going to start with the main event, and Alfie Davis versus Gadzhi Rabadanov. I spoke to Alfie a couple of weeks ago. If you haven't seen that interview, please check it out, because I'll be honest, this was a fight I was looking forward to, but after interviewing Alfie, I was pretty hyped for it, because Gadzhi Rabadanov coming into this fight, look, he's going to be a big favourite. I'll just pull up the odds here while I'm at it and see if the odds are out yet, as I record this a little bit early. And he is. I'm looking at here. He's a minus 538 favourite as I record here. A good few days out. Like massive favourite coming into this fight. But speaking of Alfie Davis, he was having none of it. Absolutely none of it. He was like, I have no respect for him. I think he's overrated. Not to misquote him. He didn't say he had no respect for him, but he did say he was overrated. And he was like, I don't think he's wrestling as good. I don't think he's striking as good as people make out. Which is honestly. And you know what as well? Some people said, I've interviewed a lot of people down through the years, obviously. You hear people saying that, but he believes it. And now, I don't believe it. I think Gadzhi Rabadanov is a fantastic fighter. Honestly, one of the best fighters, if not the best fighter outside of the UFC right now. Really good. But, Davis kind of pointed out, he has 4 losses. He's not, he's not unbeatable and all of this sort of stuff. I'm like, okay, you're getting me into it. But look, Rabadanov has looked amazing this year and the last few years as well. In his last two, obviously this year, his first round finishes over Marcirley with that unbelievable shot from the inside, finished him in 32 seconds, and finished Kevin Lee, just destroyed him in half a round. That was 4 finishes in a row after finishing Primus last year, and Michael Dufour as well in the semi-finals last year. He had a good few decisions in a row before that. I think how many, I'm just looking at it here, 6 in a row decisions. But he's really, at 32 years of age now, he is in his prime, 31 fights in, and he's kind of turned that form of a lot of decisions, not really, none or any of them were close fights, literally all of them unanimous decisions. He's turned into a scary fighter now. Looking at him, I always say this, but Dan Hardy calls him a supreme technician, and I could not agree more. This guy he's a beautiful fighter to watch, all about timing, and anyone listening to this show knows I love a jab. His jab is absolutely amazing. He feints really well, but he feints at the right times as well. His right hand is really good, and the takedowns, just perfectly timed takedowns, and it feels weird to just almost, he's good takedowns, right? He's very, very good on the ground. He's amazing on the ground, really good on top, really, really strong on top as well. Doesn't lose position all that much unless he wants to move you into a different position to take another one. But it's on the feet, really, Rabadanov, where he's special. Not to say he's not special on the ground, as I mentioned, but he's an unbelievable fighter on the feet. But Alfie Davis is a very good fighter on the feet as well. Obviously, he's coming out of the UK and 33 years of age, and I've been following Alfie's career for an awful long time. He fought in a lot of the Irish cards and the London cards and things like that when Bellator were coming. I was obviously covering all of those, and I remember seeing him in one of the Irish cards and being really, really impressed. I think it was when he fought Daniel Scatizzi back in 2019. That was actually his first fight. He was his second fight in Bellator, but in the first fight in his Bellator/PFL run. And I was just so impressed in that. And Scatizzi, a very, very good fighter as well, who we've seen in Bellator for a good few years. And like the way Alfie Davis fights, I really enjoy it. You know, not the biggest knockout ratio in the world. You know, 6 knockout wins out of his 19 wins, but like he hits hard on the feet. He's no joke. Like that clay collared spinning back elbow into the punches. That's Alfie Davis all over. Like he loves he's turning side kicks and he's you know, just. Do you know the one thing as well about Alfie Davis? Right, you could break down all the ins and outs of the shots he throws and everything like that, but I think it's the belief he has in himself, which actually separates Alfie Davis from other guys maybe, let's say at a similar level to Alfie Davis on the way up or where he is now. That's what separates him, I think. I said it earlier on, he truly believes he's going to beat Rabadanov. I think most people who fight Rabadanov do not believe that because he's so good, but Alfie Davis does. And that to me, like, that's a live underdog. That look, who's the pick? I'll give you my pick. I'm going to pick Rabadanov. I think he will win the fight. But I wouldn't rule Alfie Davis out at all. I really wouldn't, because he's also the sort of guy, and we saw it it was the premise fight, wasn't it? He gets taken down, he loses a round, he comes back and he could win the next one. Like, he's also the sort of guy who's, you know, his cardio is so good. This is 5 rounds as well. He'll be a live guy in the 5th round if he gets, you know, if he doesn't get taken down, or if he can get a few minutes on the feet or whatever. You know, a very, very good fighter, Alfie Davis, but I just think Rabadanov is going to be too technically good on the feet. I think the wrestling will be an issue as well. I think he will partake throughout the fight, and I do think Gadzhi Rabadanov will end up winning that fight. Let's move on and let's talk about the co-main event. And that's Gina Bishop versus Liz Carmouche in the decider at women's flyweight. I spoke to Liz a few weeks ago as well. You know, and she kind of was saying to me that these two have trained together before, and I asked how the sparring went, and she basically said, like, I don't know the exact quote, but feel free to go and watch the interview, but she basically said, I don't think Gina would have been too happy with how that went on. So Liz Carmouche has looked like a different fighter this year, you know, 41 years of age, 32 fights into her career. She looked amazing against Arya Stark in her first fight of the year, knocked her out in 85 seconds. And then in the second fight against Loredana, she, to me, looked like someone, I asked her about this and she agreed, who was just hell-bent on having an exciting fight. And I feel like you can afford to do that when you're still the Bellator champion, I think, but at this stage of your career, you know. And then Gina Bishop, the other side, it's funny enough, she's 39 years of age, and she's 9-2. But like, she's looked good as well. Beat Kana Watanabe in a was it a shock? Maybe not, but she choked out Ekaterina Shaklova, who's on this card as well, in the last in her last fight in back in June. And, you know, that was a really good finish as well, her 5th submission. So she's really good on the ground. You know, we know how good Liz Carmouche is on the ground as well. 6 submissions, but a lot of them have been over the last few fights. Obviously, we remember that armbar she got against Watanabe this time last year. So, you know, it's an interesting fight. Like, Bishop is all about the takedown. You know, she needs to find her way in a little bit better, I think. You know, needs to get that... to get that set up better. She needs to open up the hands a little bit. Now against Carmouche, is that the way to go? Maybe, you know. Liz is as I said, more technical probably than she's ever been right now. She spoke about the strength and conditioning, how that's gone to another level. So it's going to be tough for Bishop, but maybe the clinch is the way in for her. I said that going into the last fight as well, and there was bits and pieces there, but I did think the striking from Bishop had improved. But again, you're talking about another level here for Carmouche. Like, when you're fighting someone like Liz Carmouche and the takedown is how you want to win the fight, like, that's a tough road to follow. Now, people might argue, look, Kana Watanabe took her down a good few times and had that fight won until she got submitted in the last 8 seconds, and that'd be a fair point, and it has happened before to Carmouche. But is Bishop at that level where she's going to be able to dominate her on the ground? I'd have my doubts about that. So I'm going to go with Liz Carmouche to pick on that one. I think she will, like, if the fight goes to the ground, I think you could see her throwing up an armbar or a triangle or something like that and finding her way out of it. But I think on the feet, she's going to be a little bit too much as well. And then we've Justin Wetzell against Marcirley Alves. This, you know, a lot of people maybe are tuning in just for the finals. You might know the names straight off hand, But these two lads are two of the most exciting guys who we've seen this year. First of all, Wetzell, 33 years of age, 12-2, beat Kasimov, which was a real shock this year. He took that in short notice, I believe, didn't he? Because my compatriot Kieran Clark was supposed to have the fight until he got injured. Beat him, and he beat Mando Gutierrez, whereas Alves, the other side of it, 14-4 at 26 years of age. Similar in that, now obviously a lot younger, but he also, a big shock in beating Jay Cadley last time out, and Leandro Ego in the first fight of the year, and he looked really, really good doing that. For Wetzell, he's a big guy for the weight. Tricky, odd movement. He trains with Corey Sandhagen, but very, very strong in the clinch. Lovely body punchers out of the southpaw stance. He's good in awkward fights as well. His clinch is very, very good, and he's well able to let his hands go. And he might have to do it this way. Alves again is a southpaw, so this southpaw versus southpaw thing. Funnily enough, the Carmouche fight is as well, and I asked this Carmouche about that, and again, feel free to listen to that interview, but she taught me some illuminating things basically about southpaw versus southpaw, that it can be very, very different. But Alves, very, very accurate lead hand, his ability to control the pace as he did against Higo is really, really good. That big wing and left hand, always thrown with intent, knocked down Ego with that, but great takedown defense, really good on top. In this fight over 5 rounds, could the pace be an issue, especially the way Wetzell fights? We will see, but like a very, very, very effective fighter. And this one to me is a real 50-50. I'll be waiting until closer to the time to give my official pick here, but I don't know. I'm like, it's very hard for me to look at someone who beat Higo and Hadley at 26 years of age, and not pick them going into a fight like this. So I think Alves might just be the pick here. Like, that power he has is really good. Like 14 wins, 10 knockouts. Wetzell, like he does eat a lot of shots, and he comes in and sometimes he's asking for it. Like, so that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, Alves is the pick here and now for the official betting pick. Head on over to the betting show later in the week. But so those are the top 3 fights. Those are the title fights, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all 3 of them. Just a few other people on this card as well. Look, the women's flyweight fight between Juliana Velasquez and Shaklova, who I mentioned earlier, obviously, that will stand as a backup. I would garner, and it's a big fight for Velasquez. 38 years of age. She's lost 4 of her last 5. Lost last time out to Shaklova, funnily enough. And or did she? Am I gone mad? She did, yeah. And that was in the first round this year, yes. And Shaklova didn't lose to Gena Bishop, so she seems to do nothing but have rematches. does Juliana Velasquez? She got caught and very quick and rear naked choke in that one. I thought coming into that, I'm pretty sure I picked her. This is last chance saloon for Juliana Velasquez. She either wins this fight, or I'd say that's her time. So big fight for her there. Mads Burnell against Robert Watley. Mads Burnell, look, he's been around for a whole long time. Again, trying to get back into the tournament probably for next year. Watley, I was looking at him up, very interesting. He was fought in 2019, didn't fight again for another 4 years, and has come back and won these last 3 in a row. 2 of them via submission. Now, he'd only 2 submissions in a what was it, 15 or 16 fight career before that. So I don't know, as he turned into a jiu-jitsu guy then, but fighting Mads Burnell in a jiu-jitsu fight mightn't be the easiest thing in the world to do. So but before that, like, watching bits and pieces, obviously it's a long time ago, so maybe you can kind of throw it out a little bit, but he was in there with some good guys, and he fought in the PFL and fought in the LFA as well. Like, lost to Chris Wade and Will Brooks as well. So look, Mads Burnell will want to throw it out on defeat, but if the fight goes to the ground, this could be a real interesting one as well. So looking forward to seeing that. Sabrina De Souza, 3-0. There's been a lot of talk about her. Very good prospect. Obviously, Baggio Ali Walsh. It'll be very interesting to see how he bounces back this time, after obviously he's maiden loss last time out. Like, this will tell you a lot about his mental fortitude, I suppose. His opponent has won his last 3 in a row. Again, a similar sort of opponent maybe to the last guy he fought, a new pro as well. So, you know, turned around pretty quickly as well. Only fought in June after getting choked out in the second round. So it'll be interesting to see how he looks in that one. This, again, 2 undefeated guys as well. I just want to mention before we go, Rinat Kavalov and Isaiah Diggs. Isaiah Diggs was supposed to fight, I believe, a few weeks ago, but he's fighting Damon Nelson now anyway. This Hinat Kavalov, he's out of Habib's team, the Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov school, 9-0, 6 knockouts. And again, from the bits and pieces I've seen of him, look, he looks so well rounded. He's fought in once in PFL, but he also fought in Eagle FC, fought in UAE Warriors, EFC as well. Been in there with some good guys. So, you know, his opponent, Vilson Dragoni, good record as well. So, good test for him there. And then Diggs, you know, 5-0, 28 years of age. Again, out of the Fury FC scene. He fought there 4 times. He had another fight somewhere else back in June, I think, maybe when the last fight fell through. So he's coming in here again, a guy with a lot of hype behind him. We'll see how it goes. But the top 3 fights for me are the ones definitely to be watching here. Alves, Carmouche, and Rabadanov are the 3 picks for me. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Sheehan for Sherdog.com, and I'll see you all next time.